Welcome to Really American. I am Michael Hayne. We are now in the middle of the month of October. So I wonder if we're going to get one of those world renowned October surprises. In 2016, the October surprise, of course, was when James Comey decided to jump all over the place, talk about Hillary and emails, and then retract that. And then we thought we had the October surprise of Trumpy Dumpty. You remember when, the whole grab him by the pussy and that should have been over? Well, the whole thing should have been over when he made fun of a handicapped reporter. So we thought that was the big October surprise. And no. He's like, we have even more proof that this dude is a disgusting, vile, sexist, rapey, sweaty pig. Nah, he's not going to win. And then in 2020, we had two plagues going on. We had COVID and we had Trump. And there was a competition between the two. Now, do we have an October surprise in 2024? I'm not quite sure. But what we do know is there is a new film out right now that Trumpy Dumpty doesn't want you to see. The Apprentice, which apparently I don't think a lot of people have saw because, who can endure that horror? We would much rather watch the horror that is Terrifier 3. That is far less frightening and gruesome than seeing Trump typified in a biography. I just don't think, maybe a few decades from now, when he's dead and gone or he's languished in prison, then maybe we'll feel comfortable watching a movie involving that mofo. But until then, no. Anyway, naturally, Trumpy Dumpty had one of his late night Truth Social seizures and went on a total incoherent rant about blah, blah, blah. It's a bad movie, blah. The people are terrible. But actually, the one thing that stood out the most and what the internet took notice of is when he talked about his relationship with his first wife, Ivana. Let's take a look at that post. I think you can just smell the dirty diaper and ketchup being flung as he types this crap out. A fake and classless movie written about me called The Apprentice. I love this. Do they even have the right to use that name without approval? Approval from whom? Not you. You don't own the rights to a name, okay? Isn't that the proprietary rights of NBC? Also, how the height of irony, Trumpy Dumpty, seeing as you have never asked permission from any of the musicians whose songs you perpetually use at your hate rallies, hence why you're getting sued left and right by them after cease and desist letters go ignored. Will hopefully bomb. It's a cheap, defamatory, and politically disgusting hatchet job put out right before the 2024 presidential election to try and hurt the greatest political movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. Yeah, we get it. You don't have to actually spell it out again. The most divisive, toxic freaking movement ever. My former wife, Ivana, was a kind and wonderful person, and I had a great relationship with her until the day she died. The writer of this pile of garbage, Gabe Sherman, a lowlife, a talentless hack who has long been widely discredited, knew that, but chose to ignore it. So sad that human scum like these people involved in this hopefully unsuccessful enterprise are allowed to say and do whatever they want in order to hurt a political movement, which is far bigger than any of us, MAGA 2024. Good God. I still rack my brain in trying to figure out how we ever survived 4 years of that. And racking my brain as to how this can run again and how people can still support him. Anyway, the movie itself, the producers, The Apprentice, we couldn't think of a better endorsement for The Apprentice now playing nationwide in response to Trumpy Dumpty. Now, that entire incoherent, self-centered, deranged, malignant, narcissistic dementia rant that Trumpy Dumpty had, the thing that stood out the most and what the internet, as I mentioned before, took notice was how he's claiming he had such a lovey-dovey, warm relationship with Ivana. Yeah, like they used to, sit at home and have blockbuster nights together and, cuddle on the gold toilet or whatever. So the internet took notice of that, and some of the responses were pretty great. Let's take a look at some of the responses. One user tweets, he had a great friendship with Ivana. Sure. Donald lies again. That's why is her grave on a golf course and a coffin with full of secret documents. I guess suggesting that Trumpy Dumpy stuffed some of those documents that he took to Mar-a-Lago in the coffin on the back nine. Another user tweets, responding to Trump's "my former wife Ivana being a kind and wonderful person." Is that why she filed a court claim during Trump's divorce from her, stating he dragged her by the hair and raped her, and her grave is untended? Followed up with, I guess, Taylor Swift, photoshopped as Rosie the Riveter. We can do it. Vote blue to save America. Biden Harris, they got to update that to Harris Walls. And then another user says, Trump is incapable of having a great relationship with anyone. He raped Ivana. Ah, yes, his first immigrant mail order bride. That didn't go all too well. Yes, all those loving relationships always ultimately conclude with you dumping your first spouse in the back nine of your golf course for tax purposes. Now, that accusation, or allegation rather, of rape was made quite public during their tumultuous divorce, which dragged on in the early 90s. Let's take a little bit look into how that went.
Walzer. Now, Peter, do we know if this rape allegation was investigated back then?
I don't think it was. I think it was in their divorce, and she claimed in a deposition, which is basically an interview with a court reporter, that she was raped. And as you said, she later backed down on that.
Okay. Should they have investigated that? I mean, that seems like a serious claim.
I don't think she ever reported it to the police, and that brings into question whether it was really rape, but they didn't investigate it because she never reported it.
Okay. Can previously sealed records be made public?
New York, that's pretty tricky, and that's why there's a lawsuit. The states differ on their opinions. In California, yes, it would be made public. In other states, it would be, but New York has a specific law that says no unless you make an application to the court.
Ah, yes. I'm reminded of all those cutesy, schmaltzy Hallmark movies that result in the one spouse putting forth a lawsuit to prevent sealed documents of allegations of rape. Now, the reason why this is so significant, because once again, it just shows what a despicable, vile human being Donald Trump is. He's not even a good pretend human being, and why we so desperately need normalcy. Put aside policy, which, oh my God, the differences between policy, what's sound, what's workable, between psychotic, fascist, petty grievances is, night and day. But again, having a happy, normal, young, vibrant couple doing young, vibrant, normal couple things. Representative of America and American couples. That's exactly what America needs. I am Michael Hayne. This is Really American. Please subscribe to our channel and check me out on my latest TikTok at Mike Hayne Comedian.